Hello WSCN students, it's Mr. Whitacre here. I hope you're having a good day. I decided after having people do some live events that it would be a good idea for me to show you how to use the JVC streaming camera on a video, because I've shown 3 or 4 students this and it's a bit of a process every time. So this way, if I just make this video, you guys can all see how to set up the camera for streaming when you're working by yourself. Of course, you can still contact me through Remind if you have problems at the actual live event itself, but I'm hoping you'll have time to watch this video. Please watch this video and so you can better understand what you have to do for this multi-step process. Also, there will still be notes inside the camera bag that will explain the process of reconnecting, the camera and hooking up the scoreboard to the camera via the IP address function, etc. So I'm going to explain all that to you, but anyway, here's what you're going to do when you come to get a camera and record a live event, stream a live event on YouTube for WSCN. First thing is you'll grab this tripod here, it says Magnus on it, and you'll unzip the bag before you leave, before you go to the event. You should check this when you come pick up the camera at school, but just make sure that this kind of cork board looking piece here is on top, because this is how you connect the camera to the tripod. Okay, so first thing before you leave the building, check and make sure this is here. Okay, now that you've got the tripod, you know the top is there, I'm going to show you how to set the tripod up. Okay, this tripod here is pretty heavy duty. Okay, and you'll see that the tripod has 3 legs and it has 2 different sections that must be extended for each leg. Okay, so sometimes there's a little lock on the bottom here, this little, it's like a little lock with this string on it that people will use to lock the legs shut. If the legs won't spread apart like that, then all you have to do is pull that tab and then they will then pull apart like so. You can see that they do spread apart like so. However, it's not nearly tall enough to put on the ground. You're pretty much filming below your waist level here. So you need to extend these legs all the way. So you simply pull this tab and let the first extension go down, and then pull this tab on top and let the second extension go down. Just like that. Okay? Do that for all 3 legs. Now sometimes when you're filming up in the booth, you will leave this 3rd leg only partially extended because you're going to put this on the windowsill of the booth up at the stadium, up at Molotov. Okay, so sometimes this 3rd leg, or if you're sitting in like a, like in the gym, and you're like sitting on a bench and you want to set the 3rd leg on the bench in front of you, you can leave this shorter. You just have to make sure that you, then balance out the top of the head to make sure that it is smooth and even. Okay, so now we have all 3 tripods pretty evenly on the ground there. You will then see that there is, let me turn this for you real quick. You will see here that you have this little arm that can come up. You just simply loosen this part on the right and the arm will extend like that, and now you're able to control the tripod. Keep in mind that you can always move this arm. You can loosen it and put it on the other side of the tripod. You can move it from the right side to the left. If you want to use your right hand to do your zooming, you can then use your left hand to control. I prefer that way. But for right now, since this is always set up on the right, you can keep it like this, okay? Hopefully you have no questions thus far, but you've got it basically laid out now. Okay, the top of this Magnus tripod head looks kind of confusing, but it's really not. There's a few things you're going to need to do. Number 1, you're going to need to take the top of this off so you can mount the camera. Okay, so all you have to do that is right here on the side, you'll see a little, like a nut with a little turn handle here. You just loosen it barely. Okay, you just barely loosen it, and on the other side of the tripod, you'll see a little red button. You press that red button in, and you are now able to take the top off and attach it to the camera. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, here's the JVC camera that you'll be using for streaming the games. This does allow you to stream directly in 1080 to YouTube wirelessly, which is really nice. But the first thing you got to do is put it on the tripod. You'll see on the bottom of the camera here, there's some places where you can put the mechanism, that's right here, into the bottom of this. And there's like a peg, and there's one that has threads on it. The one that has threads on it goes on the towards this part of the camera, okay, like so. Now keep in mind, you want to firmly hold the camera when you do this, okay? Don't ever let go of the camera because, it's expensive. Now, once you put that on there, there's just a little twisty here that you can twist on and lock onto the camera. You can then push this little tab down so it's out of your way, okay? And that's pretty much that. All you have to do now is there's these 2 slots right here. I'm trying to get you a good shot of that. There's 2 slots. They go right into the 2 slotted positions here on the tripod. Okay, so I'm going to slide these in from the back like this, and you'll know you're doing it right because you're going to hear a click. Hear that click noise? Bing! That's like, that lets you know that it is on the tripod now, but it still slides back and forth. It won't fall off because the red tab is protecting that from happening. But what you want to do is, you just got to find this thing that you loosened earlier on the side and tighten it back again. And now the camera will not slide around at all. Okay? So now the camera is fastened. Now let's find a way to straighten it up, okay? One of the really cool things about these particular tripods, these Magnus tripods, is the entire head of the tripod floats. In other words, it can be loosened and moved without you really having to mess with the legs. You can really just balance it using this top part. And there's this like a cylindrical knob here that you can twist in between the tripod legs here, and that allows you to loosen the top, and then you can then tighten it to the right when you are in a position you like, and it's now not bouncing all over the place. There is a level, which is going to be hard for me to show you this on the camera without, I don't know if I'm able to do this. Let me see. Can't really see the level. It's right here. There's like a little level. It's like a bubble inside of a circle that you can see whether or not it's centered, okay? And that works pretty well. Now when you're doing, the stadium stuff, you want to look at the horizon of the sky when you're in the booth with the camera and see if it looks straight. If the horizon of the sky looks like this, that means that your camera is crooked in comparison to the field. So you can just loosen this and straighten it up again like that, okay? There's a few different things you want to know. This is the thing I told you about that tightens the arm itself. So if the arm's kind of turning or rotating, you can tighten that. And there are two knobs on this side, which are very helpful. And these are the ones you're going to want to use the most. Number one, there's one on top here, and this allows the camera to go up and down. When you're doing something like volleyball, you don't need to do that. You don't really follow the ball with volleyball. So you can pretty much tighten this down like this, and now it won't go up and down as much. But if you loosen down here, you could still go side to side. Okay? This almost always, this bottom one, you want to be fairly loose, just so you can move back and forth. Okay? Also, on the top of this camera, you'll see there's two buttons here. Well, there's a button that has two sides. One says T, one says W. T means tight. W means wide. Okay, so that's how you zoom in. T would zoom you way close into your subject. W would zoom the camera out away. There's different rules for different sports. When you do volleyball, you pretty much just want to kind of go back and forth between the two sides as they're, volleying the ball. But for, like, say, soccer, you want to have about 20 yards of vision on the field. So you can see who's coming behind the player, who they're moving around. You can kind of stay ahead of where the ball is going to be, etc. Football, about 20, 25 yards, same thing. So you kind of watch, these presentations on TV and see about how you should frame your shot. Because it's just you. When you're doing this by yourself, it's just you with the shot. So you don't have other cameras to cut to like we do when we do like Friday night football games with multiple cameras, okay? So keep that in mind. So that's about it. There's a couple different tightening mechanisms here that allow you to tighten the camera. I'm going to straighten it up using my little center thing inside the head there. And now you can loosen this and it can go up and down like so, okay? There is a record button on the back here that has a little circle on it. But you don't really need that unless you're filming like I am right now. You're going to be using the button on top here. It's really small. It says record 7, okay? And that's what will stream it to YouTube. However, you haven't connected it to the internet yet, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Inside of your camera bag, you will see this little white internet that's called a dongle. It allows you to connect to the Wi-Fi with the camera. Okay, so you have to plug this in. It just looks like a USB, pretty much. You have to plug this in here on the top right side of the camera. Okay, it goes right in here. And once you do that, and you then will open the screen. Here's where you open the screen, boop, like that. Okay, and then there's an on-off button here that allows you to just press the little blue button in and push it to on, and then you'll see the camera will come on. As soon as the camera comes on, it allows you to see your field of vision. Now, if you're the kind of person that really wants to use the eyepiece right here, you can do that. But I find that to be pretty challenging and unnecessary for most of the sports that we do. And you'll see here now that the camera is on. It's zoomed way in. So I'm going to zoom it out a little bit using my T on my zoomer there. And there you go. You now have the ability to move around the camera and things like that. You will see up here in the top corner, there will be a yellow, almost like a little yellow, looks like a tree, almost like when you're diagramming ideas for English or something like that. That tree will start out being yellow, but it should turn to white, solid white. Once it turns to solid white, that means that you are now able to stream to the internet. here is the little tree icon I'm talking about right at the very top right hand corner of the screen. Once that's solid white like it is right now, you are now able to stream to the internet, okay? Okay, you'll see here now there's a scoreboard on here at the bottom of the screen. It has the team that we're playing over here, and it has Harding over here as well. You'll see it's got the time clock, etc. If you press this display button on the right back of the camera, it's right here. If you press that display button, it lets you pull up like the time, etc., the date, and you can also see if there's any audio. You can see right now it's capturing my audio because it's bouncing, so you know that it's capturing audio. You want to see that, otherwise you're doing a silent broadcast. Okay, now if you press menu here at the top, you're able to go to the overlay settings, and here's the type of overlay settings. There's one that's pre-made for football, there's one pre-made for baseball, one made for basketball, and there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the one that has the clock. Type 2 is the one that does not have the clock. So if you just hit the little button here to select that, you'll see now that the clock is gone. It says first period, but the clock is gone. So let's just go here and let's change this to overlay settings. Let's go to football. Okay, football, hit cancel, and there it is. We now have 1st and 10. We have the team that we're playing. We also have our team, the score, the period, the 1st and 10, and the time. So what you do is, in order to do this, let me zoom this out. In order to do this, you're going to be using our iPad. Our iPad lets you connect to the camera without any wires or anything. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's a pretty straightforward process. So here we go. Okay, so here is your iPad that we've got to control the scoreboard. All you do is open up the iPad and just go to Safari down at the bottom, and that will then allow you to bring up your overlay control here. Now you need to put in what's known as the IP address for the camera in here. That IP address can be easily obtained, and once again, this is all step by step. There's a paper that's in the bag to help you with this. If you just go to status, you'll see that about 5 down it says the IP address currently, which is 10, that's 10.27.104.112. That changes every time, so it's not always going to be that. It's just whatever it is this time when you turn the camera on. 10.27.104.112. Okay, and now it's asking for a password and a username. Your username is JVC, that's the name of the camera. The password is 0000. Hit join or log in, and it will then bring up this control. Okay, just hit overlay control, and you are now ready to control what's going on. You can press status to turn that off on the camera, and here you have now all your options for the particular scoreboard. You've got the score, the timeouts, etc. You're going to have an overlay for when there's a flag, so you can press that. If you press flag, you'll see here on the screen. If I zoom in, I'll show you that. If you press the flag button on this particular screen, it comes on and off. See, look, I just turned flag on, boom. Now it says flag on the screen. That's all pretty neat. If you change the score on the iPad here, say that we have now scored, let's say the Harding scored 6 points. So you just type in the 6 points right here. You can see it. And once you do that, you just hit update. And now the score on the screen has changed to say 6-0. You pretty much control everything on this screen from this particular iPad. That's why it's kind of nice to have 2 people to do these events. With COVID, obviously, we're limited there, but it's good to have 2 people to do these events because one person can run the scoreboard, especially for football. That's really complex. The clock is running, you're changing the down and distance every single play, so that can be a little difficult. I will say that scoreboard operating for football is the most difficult of all of these things so far. But there's also a place where you can change the half, the quarters. You can even change the team name down here. So right now it says we're playing Fitch, but say we're not playing Fitch. Say we're playing, Canfield. So you just type in Canfield, and you hit set, and now it will change on the screen. It says, zoom in, Canfield. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You've got the scoreboard running. You've got the camera set up. As soon as you hit record /7 on top of the camera next to the zoom button, you're streaming. Make sure when you're zooming during a game you don't hit that button accidentally because it stops the stream. So very important to make sure you don't do that. And then when you're done, you just take it all apart. By the way, Sometimes the camera is going to be dead or will be dying, but you should be close to a plug. Right here on the back right, this is where your plug plugs in. There'll be a plug in the bag. It plugs into the camera, and you just plug it into the wall, and you'll be good to go. Please don't leave that plug in the stand or whatever, up in the booth. Bring it back, put it back in the bag. All this stuff should come back to me the next day, ASAP, as early as you can, because I might have someone that's going to pick it up for, later on in the night. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hopefully that's all you need to know about this for streaming live events. I'm always here to help you if you have questions. I know it was a lot, but there will be a paper to kind of help you with at least the technical side of things. The tripod setting up, once you do that once or twice, you should be pretty familiar with it, all right? Good luck, and get some great footage this year, Raiders. Give people something to watch.